Well, g'day B. Welcome to our special intro episode.
Yes, love an intro episode. We've seen these in other podcasts, and I think it helps people understand and navigate the podcast a bit better and understand who we are, what we're doing, and all that sort of biz.
Yeah, and plus, as you know, we've had some people sort of challenge us or question us. What's this all about? What does it all do? And we've been answering it. It's just really good to steer them back to this. So hello to you.
Absolutely. So, what is the intent of what we want to do? What we want to do is create a conversation.
Yeah, exactly right. And tell our stories, right? We used to sit around and talk about this stuff and laugh or even get upset. And we just thought, hey, these are stories worth telling. Let's put them out on the internet for the whole world to see.
Yeah, that's right. No, I don't think we started these with a clear vision or a clear endpoint or even parts in the journey. But I think they're resonating with people, and we've certainly had some good feedback that it is resonating with people. It is helping them. It is bringing stuff up for people, but it's also helping them to process it as well.
And I think we need to be clear that we're not anti-Christian or even anti where we came from. It's more the fact that we're just telling these stories and we're calling out the shit, but we're also celebrating the good things as well, right?
Absolutely, and I think it's with any part of your life. If you can't deconstruct it, reconstruct it, and try and understand it a bit better, then you're doing a disservice to yourself.
So one of the questions we kept getting asked, and I'll throw it to you first, B, is, so where are you at now? What do you believe now?
Yeah, and that's not one I can answer, and I think I've spoken about this in a maybe first, second or third episode, where I really don't know exactly where I'm at. I'm not sure what I believe. I'm not sure which bits I've picked up, put down. I don't know. I can't really comment on it, to be quite honest, because it's an ongoing journey for me. How about you?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I don't want to answer it because I think that'll start to alienate parts of the audience. Like if you say you're an atheist or you say you're a born again Christian or you say you're a Hindu or a Buddhist or whatever, I really don't want to answer it intentionally because I think we're more doing the reflection on what we believed then. And I think what's more important is what did we believe at that point when we're telling these stories, right? So depending on what point of the journey we're telling the story about, that's what matters then. But I think people will be able to listen and the way that we respond to things and piece it together if they really want to, but otherwise let it go.
Yeah, and I think, it's very much important to emphasise context as well. We're contextualising it through the eyes of now, but the reality is it was a very different story for us then and what we believed while we believed it, and there was a whole range of factors. So I guess what this is about is looking at it through now's eyes with hindsight, I guess.
Now, the other question that we get asked is two things. Why are you anonymous? And secondly, why do you name some people in the stories that you tell, but others you use initials?
Yeah. And look, anonymity, I think from both our perspectives, we've got professional lives, we've got family lives. We want to separate some of that stuff. We don't want it enmeshed. So anonymity is really important. And I think it's not just important for us, but it's important for those that we speak about because it's not necessarily reflective of a particular person in every story.
We know that people have moved on just like we have moved on from that time in our lives. And so, telling stories and saying, oh, this was, such and such and giving their real name is hurtful, right? And they may feel a sense of shame about what they did and they've moved on and they've grown just like we have. So I think it's really important to note that people change. And so, whilst we want to tell the stories, we don't want to point the finger at, he did this or she did that. And we want the same thing for us as well, because we're telling stories that make us look like idiots, because we were sometimes. And we want to make sure that people, don't tarnish us with that brand as well. I remember there was a Native American storyteller who I heard said at the beginning of his stories, I don't know if this happened at all, but it's entirely true. And the point that he's making there is that these stories, the message is true, even though, some of the details may be a bit sort of fuzzy. The other thing that we do sometimes is we create composite characters as well. So, we may tell a story knowing that there was 3 or 4 people or 3 or 4 leaders or whatever, and we sort of mesh them all into one. So don't be looking so much at historical accuracy as much as just, the spirit of the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you recognize yourself in one of these stories or characters, it's probably completely coincidental. Because the reality is they are definitely all meshed together, as T said.
Now, the production values certainly got better as we went along, so please don't judge us for episodes 1 to 5. Please, know that we do get better, so as you plough through that, keep that in mind. And we bring guests in from time to time, and we're planning to bring even more in as well. The other thing I think is to remember that we have the Facebook group. The Facebook group is there for discussion, but if you don't want to discuss, you can just sign up to our Facebook page, and then you just get notifications about new episodes and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been some really good conversations in there. And certainly, as we said before, anyone is welcome. Come on board. We don't really care what flavour you're coming from, have come from, or whatever. But as long as it resonates with you, you're open to the conversation, be respectful to each other, and just come have a chat, come reflect. But also, we want this to be a healing environment where people can go forward.
And lastly, I think we're evolving and the show is evolving as well. So, as time goes on, I think, our focus will shift. Season 1 will be very different to season 2, season 3, etc. But, we invite you to come along and be a part of it and evolve with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, enjoy. Start at number 1 and work your way forward.